Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Blair Lamb and I'm married to Riley. We have a 3-year-old daughter named Nora and a 1-year-old son named Colin, and we are about to go on a Disney World trip here in just a couple of days. So today I'm filming an expectations versus reality video. So the way that I have done these in the past and the way that I will do this video today is I will sit here and film today and talk through each one of our days in the parks and sort of what our plans are, our expectations, and then at a later date when we have returned from our trip, I will sit down just like I am today, but I will talk about what the reality of every day was so that it's very easy to compare, because I will clip together what we're planning on doing on Sunday and then what actually happened on Sunday, and what we planned on doing on Monday and then what actually happened on Monday. So it's really easy to compare and contrast our expectations and reality of the trip. Just to give an overview of our trip, we are going in late January. We are going from Sunday, January 29th through Saturday, February 4th. So it will be a 7-day and 6-night trip. And we are staying at the Beach Club Resort for the very first time. We have a garden or woods view, and we're very, very excited about that. I have never stayed, none of us have ever stayed on the boardwalk, on any of the boardwalk resorts, and we have been excited about staying there for a long time, and I am just super looking forward to it. I'm also super looking forward to it because you may be able to hear it's pouring down rain today, and then actually next week when we are gone in Orlando, it is supposed to be bitter cold, snowing, icing, frozen pipes, like the whole situation. And so we will be escaping that in warm and sunny Florida. The highs are supposed to be like 80 or 82 with lows in the 60s. I think the weather is going to be just absolutely fabulous for our trip. I am so excited. So let's go ahead and start with Sunday, which is our travel day from Dallas to Orlando, and where we are getting checked in and just kind of getting ourselves acclimated. So we will depart from Dallas here around 8 o'clock a.m. and then the flight's about 2.5 hours, but with the time change, we will arrive in Orlando at the Orlando airport around 11:30. We will then board, we booked with the new Magical Express, but it's by Mears. I know there's Sunshine Flyer and Mears Travel Connection or something. I forget what it's called, but we booked with Mears. And so hopefully that goes really seamlessly. And so we'll gather up our luggage and we will board the Mears bus and head over to the Beach Club Resort. So excited. And so when we get there, we will of course hopefully be able to check into our room, but it will probably be noon or 12:30, so it's very likely that they won't quite be ready for us yet. But we have been many times where we've taken an even earlier flight and our room has been ready upon arrival. So you truly never know what is going to happen. So that's kind of what we're planning on, is arriving around noon, 1 p.m. to the resort, hopefully getting checked into our room. If not, we will surely just go explore, grab a snack or some lunch, and just let the kids run around outside and play in the sand on the beach and all that kind of thing. We probably will not go into any park until we have already gotten checked into our room. And so check-in time is officially 3, so we know that by 3 we will be able to check in, but most likely it will be earlier. In past trips, especially in January, which we've done multiple times, usually we can get into our room at least a couple of hours early. So we'll go ahead and check into our room, maybe unpack a little bit, get the kids settled in. If they need to take a brief rest, we'll do that. It's hard to know with toddlers flying and traveling exactly what their sleep is going to look like, meals are going to look like, and anyone else who has small children knows it can sometimes be all over the place. So depending on, a lot of this trip will be very dependent on how the kids are holding up. I'm never going to push through a day and have them be miserable, crying, fussy, and upset when we could just go back to the hotel and take a nap and then have an actually enjoyable afternoon or something like that. So anyway, we will see how they're doing, and then I would like to explore the grounds a little bit. We've been to the beach club before, we've been to the yacht club before for meals and things like that, but not to explore as our home away from home for a week. So we'll do that. Once we're checked into the room and we've gotten ourselves all unpacked and ready for the evening, the afternoon and evening, We will load up our stroller, and that's always like a very exciting thing because it means we're officially in Disney World. So we're going to load up our stroller with drinks for the kids and snacks for them. Of course, our diaper bag, extra layers of clothing. You know how it is. The stroller is like the mobile home of Disney vacations. You got to make sure you got everything on it. So we'll get that all set up and head into Epcot because, of course, we're staying on the boardwalk. So our plan is just to head to Epcot that evening. We just plan on exploring. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. It will very much depend on the kids' moods, behavior, how tired they are, how hungry they are. But I would like to just do a couple of things that I think they would find really fun. So I'd like to do maybe like the Finding Nemo ride, snag something delicious for dinner. I know Riley really loves the fish and chips from the UK pavilion, so we might head over there to get some food, walk around the World Showcase. I love Epcot in the evening. It's like my favorite thing. So we will see exactly how it all pans out, but that's kind of our plan for Sunday. I would expect us to head back to the hotel relatively early. I wouldn't be surprised if we were back in the hotel room, 7:30, just so that the kids can get a really solid night's sleep on that night and can be ready for our next full park day. So that's kind of what my expectations are for Sunday. Well, we are back from our trip and I have pages of notes of our trip so that I can really share with you the reality of how everything went. So let's go ahead and just jump in here and I will share the reality of how Sunday went, our travel day from Dallas to Orlando. So I'm going to definitely be referencing my notes because it's been a few weeks since we got home from our trip and I don't want to miss anything. So we ended up getting up at around 4:30 or 5 a.m. just to give ourselves plenty of time to get ourselves completely ready. The car packed, the stroller packed, all of that, the kids ready, and get out the door and get to the airport in time to board around 7:30 a.m. So it was a very early morning, but everything went extremely smoothly. We travel a lot with our kids and as a family because my family lives across the country. And so for virtually every holiday and then many times in between, we travel and we're on the airplane. And so we have it down to a little artful dance in our house. My husband takes care of certain things and I take care of certain things. And we just sort of do it, and it was great. So we did that, and we got to Orlando very smoothly. The flight was fine, checking in, all of that, very, very, very smooth, even though it was quite early in the morning. The first little hitch that we had was when we arrived in Orlando, we have never had to get our own luggage before because each time that we've traveled to Disney World in the past, Magical Express was still in service, and so they took our luggage and transported it to our resorts for us, which was an incredible service and one that I hope that they do bring back. So the luggage, well, I find the Orlando airport just a little bit tricky anyway, and the luggage was not where we kind of thought it was going to be, and we should have paid more careful attention. So definitely take the time to review the maps before before you get out of your terminal and head over to wherever, if you're renting a car, or we used Mears Connect. But I would say just double check where your baggage is going to be located if you check bags, because we didn't do that. And so it took us some extra time because we had to backtrack and grab our luggage. But we did, and it really was not a big deal in the end. And then, like I said, we used Mears Connect, which really is like a rebranded Magical Express. Same location, same deal where you scan in with like a QR code. They put you in the same lines and then they put you on the same buses. I actually really, really liked the service. I had no complaints about it whatsoever. Our driver was really great and we only had a couple of other people with us in the vehicle, and so it was really quick to get to our resort, whereas sometimes on the Magical Express you're making so many stops that it seemed like it would take longer. I never minded it, but the shorter ride was nice. So we got to the beach club and our room was ready upon arrival, which was really nice. So that was probably between 1:30 and 2 p.m. or so is when we arrived to the beach club and our room was ready. So loved that. We got checked in. I did a little room tour and intro to my vlog series, which all of those videos are already live if you're interested. We were in Epcot by 2:30 p.m. So we got to our room. We didn't really unpack hardly at all. We just kind of changed a couple of clothing items. Like I think some of us changed into short sleeves and stuff. And then we headed out because it was very, very warm. Walked over to Epcot. We were there by 2:30. And then we were eating lunch by 2:50. And we decided to try out the new Regal Eagle Smokehouse, which was new to us because they had a new menu instituted as of February 2020. So it was our first time ever eating there. And I would say, are pretty picky as far as barbecue is concerned. We live in Texas where there is an abundance of delicious barbecue. And I went to school in North Carolina where there is also an abundance of delicious barbecue. And we loved it. We thought it was delicious. Great sauces, the meats were well smoked and seasoned, and just really loved it. Our son was asleep by this point, but our daughter ate her meal, and we had a really delicious lunch, so I definitely recommend that. And that was at like 2:50, so like I said, it was quick. We got to Epcot in within 20 minutes, pretty much the time it took to walk around the World Showcase, only making a couple little stops, we were eating. Then we walked around the World Showcase some. I went and got a caramel butter square from the caramel shop in Germany. And it's just so good. It's so good. I think about it a lot. And so I enjoyed that thoroughly. And then we continued on our way around the World Showcase and got over into the front part of Epcot. And there's a kids' playground there that I had never noticed because we had never been there. I guess we've been once with our daughter, but I didn't know that it was there. But anyway, there's this really neat playground, and it was wonderful. The kids absolutely loved it, so we let them play there for quite a while just to burn off some steam because they had been in the car seat driving to the airport and then in the seats on the airplane and then in the seats driving to, like they'd been very contained. And so we let them run free and just have a great time. And then we walked around a little bit more, and we did a few rides like Finding Nemo, and then walked through the whole building that contains Finding Nemo, and they looked at the aquarium and all that. And we also did Living with the Land, which our daughter loved. I love Living with the Land as well. And we just kind of enjoyed ourselves, walked around some. The kids ended up falling asleep pretty early in the stroller. And so Riley and I just walked around and enjoyed the sights and sounds. And I was really shocked that we lasted so long. We didn't head back to the resort until 9 o'clock in the evening, which surprised me because we had been up since 4:30 a.m. But there was a second wind that hit us, I think, of Disney energy. And we had a great first day. We had a really solid first day. We did a lot more than I anticipated. I really thought that we would check into the resort, probably stay there, eat something there, maybe head over to Epcot for an hour or two, and that would be it. But we got in a solid 6 hours in Epcot before we headed back to the resort. So that was wonderful. So that was our first day, traveling to Orlando, getting to the beach club, checking in, and enjoying some time at Epcot, and it was fantastic. The next day, Monday, let's talk about that. So my expectations for Monday are, I have lots of expectations for Monday because that is the day we're going to Magic Kingdom, and my daughter Nora has just been so excited to see the castle and the princesses, and she talks about it every single day. She's so thrilled and excited. So I'm very much looking forward to heading over to Magic Kingdom and her getting to see the castle. It's actually not the first time she's been to Disney. We went about 2 years ago when she was about 18 months old, but she doesn't remember it. And so this time she'll really, I think, be able to like absorb it and enjoy it. I do think probably on Monday we will get breakfast there at the beach club or somewhere else on the boardwalk, somewhere really simple and easy for us to grab. And then we will head onto the bus over to Magic Kingdom for the bulk of the day. So I think we'll probably go over there and ride rides that the kids will love, like Small World, Little Mermaid, Peter Pan, all those kinds of rides that the kids just, I think, will, Winnie the Pooh, just really, really, just absolutely adore. I'm really looking forward to seeing them explore, and can you tell? I'm just very excited. So I expect that we will just bop around. We don't have I don't have high expectations in terms of quantity of rides. I think it will be more like we probably do some of the same ones several times. The carousel, I think they both will love the carousel. So that's kind of what our plan is on Monday, is just to really enjoy Magic Kingdom. Now, our son definitely needs to take a nap every single day. He's only 1. Our daughter can go a little bit longer without a nap, and some days she can skip a nap altogether and truly be in good spirits. So we will see. If Colin, my son, will nap in the stroller, then that's what we'll do. We will probably just hang out into the afternoon and let him nap. If he starts to fuss and he's not really napping in the stroller, then we will definitely head back to the hotel, because that would be a make or break situation. So I expect that we will either head back to the hotel for him to nap, or he will nap in the stroller in Magic Kingdom. And then throughout the evening, as we get closer to the evening, I suspect we will likely go back to our hotel, have a little bit of a rest, a little bit of a break from all of the stimulation. I think the kids will truly love playing outside at the boardwalk, on the boardwalk, at the beach club, and being able to play in the sand. I'm definitely going to bring all of our swimsuits so that if the weather is nice enough, it sounds like at 80 something degrees, we really actually might be able to swim, which is really cool. So we might go swimming some, just spend some time outdoors. The kids just love that. I definitely know that with a 3 and a 1-year-old, standing in lines all day is not going to be their idea of fun. So we will enjoy the atmosphere and everything that Disney has to offer, but we probably will not spend the bulk of our time waiting in lines for obvious reasons. I don't think there's anything new in Magic Kingdom that Riley or I have not done and want to do. We really want to do Tron, but that won't be up and running by the time we arrive. So it will just be a matter of enjoying the things that we already know and love. I think, even simple things like the Aladdin Magic Carpet ride that goes in circles. I know that Nora will love that. So forward to enjoying Magic Kingdom, and then I expect that we'll go back, like I said, either for naps or just a rest time at the hotel, hanging out at the hotel. And it wouldn't surprise me if we ended up going into Epcot that evening, just because it's such a short, easy walk to head over there, and that way we could really just pop in there, and both kids really truly might fall asleep in the strollers, and Riley and I could get some drinks, walk around the World Showcase, shop a little bit. My heart swells with joy just thinking about it. So that's my loose plan for Monday. Okay, so here is how it actually went on Monday, the reality of Monday. It was a great day. So we were all up and moving by about 6:30 or 7 a.m. and we all got dressed. And I just want to make a little sidebar that I purchased these athletic skirts that have like built-in shorts, but they're athletic skirts from Amazon, and I fell in love. This was the first day I was wearing one, this Monday, and they were just I felt like pulled together, and yet I felt covered because like if I needed to squat down with the kids, I had the built-in shorts. I just loved them. I will link them below if you're looking for something to wear to Disney, because I really recommend. I also loved the shoes that I brought on this trip. They're by the brand On, and they rocked. They were so comfortable. So anyway, got dressed. We did, just like I planned, eat breakfast at the beach club, and then we boarded a bus for Magic Kingdom. Just like I planned, we rode some of the rides, like Winnie the Pooh, Peter Pan's Flight. The kids loved those, loved the carousel. Nora, my daughter, was a little bit afraid of Peter Pan's Flight. I think the crocodile kind of freaked her out, but it was all fun and good overall. Then we went to Be Our Guest for lunch. I was able to snag a last-minute Be Our Guest reservation. Every single reservation that I made on this trip that I will mention in this video was last minute, except for one, which was our Space 220 reservation, which I made at the day mark when I was able to. Everything else I made the day of or the night before, which was a combination of luck, our party being just 4 people, the fact that it was in January and February when it's not as high of crowds. I really don't know, but we were able to snag, as you'll hear throughout this video, some fantastic reservations, one of them being Be Our Guest Lunch. And Be Our Guest Lunch has changed. The last time that we went there for lunch, it was a menu where you would order, just one entree or one sandwich or whatever it was. And it was basically like a quick service situation. This was definitely a table service. It was a 3-course meal. It was phenomenal. The best food we have ever had in Magic Kingdom, ever. I mean, incredible meal. We had French onion soup and filet mignon and this delicious dessert platter, and it was just incredible. So we loved our lunch at Be Our Guest, which was a last minute reservation, like I've mentioned. The kids loved it too. We sat in the West Wing and that was really fun. And they were great. They did really, really well. I think they were tired and hungry by the time we went to lunch, so it worked out super well. Then we went and we rode Dumbo, which is a fun experience with kids because, of course, they have the beginning part of it where you get your little pager and you get to go play in the play place, and then you actually get to go ride Dumbo. And then we walked from Dumbo to Haunted Mansion because we had lightning lanes for Haunted Mansion. And on that walk, both kids fell sound asleep. So I sent Riley on Haunted Mansion alone because it's his very favorite Disney ride, and he went and rode it twice with his magic band and then with my magic band. And I stayed with the kids and stayed with them in the stroller, just walked around a little bit. During that time, I got to watch the Festival of Fantasy parade from afar. I was kind of standing over by, if you know where the DVC booth is, kind of outside of the Haunted Mansion, like the end of the Haunted Mansion line. I was kind of posted up over there. And the Festival of Fantasy parade was just down the way. And so I could still see it and hear it. I absolutely love that parade. So that was really fun. After the kids woke up, we went on Pirates of the Caribbean. And then the kids were starting to get hungry. But Riley and I weren't quite hungry yet. So we went over to Pecos Bill and got the kids a little meal there and fed them. After that, I needed to sort of reset my son. He was needing to be nursed. We have since weaned, but he was still nursing on that trip, and I felt like he needed some quiet time to be nursed and have his diaper changed and just like needed a little reset. And so I went over to the Magic Kingdom Baby Care Center, which is situated behind Casey's Corner by those restrooms. And that was the first time I've ever utilized one of the baby care centers in any of the parks. And I was really, really blown away and very impressed. There were a couple of attendants in there. It was sparkling clean. And it was just really nice and calming. And they had this beautiful nursing room. And I sat in there in this big plush reclining rocker. And right by it, they had a little table with a cute little lamp and chargers that you could like plugs where you could charge your phone or anything else. It was just really peaceful, and so I did exactly that. I got my son all reset for the evening. Even though I had planned on going back to the hotel for a break and a rest, we didn't do that hardly at all on this trip. The kids took fantastic stroller naps, and so we just stayed in the parks, and it was really nice. So after the baby care center, we made our way to the front of the park and hopped on the monorail and took the monorail around 6:30 p.m. over to Epcot. And that's when I was shocked and surprised because I discovered the whole new section of Epcot that was built around the new Ratatouille ride. I don't know what I thought was the situation, but I had no idea, like zero idea that whole area existed. I thought that they were replacing Impressions of France with Ratatouille and that was going to be the entrance. I don't know. I just hadn't thought about it, I guess. But it was really fun to be super surprised by that whole area. We got some crepes from the little creperie over there, and we ended up riding Ratatouille, which was really fun as well. We got back to the hotel that evening around 9:45 p.m. and we had been up since around 6:30 or 7, so we were definitely exhausted by that point, but a very happy exhaustion. So we went ahead and went to sleep, and that was the reality of our Monday. Tuesday, we are planning on going into Hollywood Studios, and so we are planning on trying to use the Genie Plus, which we have not ever used in the past. The last time we went, Fast Passes were still the thing, and it's changed like 83 different times, and we are on Genie Plus right now, so I don't know how long that will last. But we do plan on using that to ride some of the Star Wars rides. We will have to actually definitely switch off. But yeah, we're going to spend at least the morning into probably the early afternoon in Hollywood Studios. I'm really looking forward to exploring it. I think the little Disney Junior section, I think Nora will really like that. I know they have some Disney Junior stuff there. I really don't even remember what it is because I've never had I've never been looking for it until, now Nora's old enough. She really does love Fancy Nancy, and I think she'll really enjoy it. Definitely want to do the Frozen show. I think she will adore that with all of her heart. So I'm really looking forward to that. The Beauty and the Beast show I think would be a winner too, but I think the Frozen show more so. I actually really like the Little Mermaid show there too. So we might do several shows. Indiana Jones will terrify my daughter Nora, and Colin is still too young to really be focused for very long. So we'll probably skip Indiana Jones on our Hollywood Studios day, but I could see us getting some Starbucks at the, what do they call it? I forget what the name of it is. It's been 2 years. I've been so out of the loop. on the main drag of Hollywood Studios, I could see us getting some coffees or Starbucks and walking around with the kids and letting them just enjoy everything. And I'm definitely really looking forward to it. And especially really hoping to ride Rise of the Resistance. We tried to ride it on our last trip and it didn't work out. And with Genie Plus, I'm totally willing to pay to be able to ride it. I am so eager to ride it. I really want to see it. I've heard just such rave reviews, so I'm very much excited and looking forward to doing that. So anyway, Hollywood Studios Day, just like on Monday, I think pretty much every day we'll head back to the hotel at some point, either for nap time or if the kids take naps in strollers, or at least if Colin does, just for some rest time, just for some downtime at the hotel to swim, play in the sand, play on the beach, walk around, let them run outside in the beautiful fresh air. I think it'll be really nice. Get ice cream from Beaches and Cream, shop, walk around the beach club, walk around the boardwalk. Then we'll probably spend the evening enjoying the resort, possibly walking into Epcot. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what I expect of that evening, but that's the plan for the day. Tuesday went so differently than I had anticipated, and it was one of my favorite days of the trip, but really none of my expectations hit, except for that we did end up eventually at Hollywood Studios on that day. So when we woke up in the morning on Tuesday, we were pretty exhausted. We had woken up early the previous 2 mornings with 4:30 a.m. on Sunday and then around 6:30 on Monday, and both of those days we were out until 9:30 or 10 p.m. So very long and full days. So it was very easy for me to gauge when I woke up that there was just no way we were heading directly to Hollywood Studios to have another full 12 plus hour day. There was just no way. So instead we got up, it was around 7:30 when we got up, and we were dressed and ready by about 8:30. And while everyone was kind of getting up and getting dressed, I went ahead and made a breakfast reservation for that very morning at Cape May Cafe, which is a buffet with the characters in adorable beachwear right in Beach Club. And so I thought, well, that's easy enough. That will give us a nice slow morning. And it was such a good call on my part, if I do say so myself. It really worked out super well. That's exactly what we needed, was a more low-key morning where we weren't traveling, far around Disney World. And so we all just got dressed and we literally just walked downstairs, and our breakfast reservation was $9.20. So it was great. So we went and sat down, and the food was solid. Buffet food, I think, is always inferior to a true table service meal, in my experience at least. There are a couple of places where I might say it's an exception, but the food was solid. It was definitely good. It wasn't the best of our trip, but it wasn't awful either. And so we enjoyed our food, but really what won us over were the characters. The character interactions at Cape May Cafe were the best I have ever seen. They were in these cute beach outfits, first of all, and they really took so much time with our children to engage with them and interact with them and laugh with them and play with them. And if you go and watch that vlog, you'll totally see. It was really sweet. So we absolutely loved that and had such a nice time. And then after we finished our breakfast and taking pictures with the characters and all of that, we just went outside to the beach club where the boardwalk is and let the kids run around in the grass, in the sand, let them play and just burn off some steam and some energy just outside. Kids need that so much. And so we just let them, probably for at least an hour, if not longer, just run around and play. And then we wrangled them up and we went back to our hotel room to change into swimwear so that we could go to Stormalong Bay. So if you're not familiar, Stormalong Bay is the pool that is shared between the yacht club and the beach club. It is a 3-acre sized swimming pool, and it is a sand-bottomed pool. So it's really unique. It's very neat. It's beautiful. The feel of it is just so different than a stark chlorinated pool. It just feels so relaxing. There's a lazy river. There's some 0 entry points where kids can kind of wade in. There's a sandbar in the middle of it. It really is super neat. And so we got the kids in their swimwear and we got on sunscreen, and all of us headed down to the pool, and we found a great little spot and posted up. And some of the other more seasoned beach club and yacht club hotel members, goers, whatever, had bought or brought sand toys, which that totally didn't even occur to me. But I've actually seen silicone sand toys on Amazon, and if we were to stay there again, I would buy some and pack them, because since they're silicone, they're squishy and they would be really easy to pack. But there were some really sweet parents and kids who let our kids play with their pile of sand toys, so our kids really enjoyed that. They did have life vests available for the kids. We brought our own because I didn't know, but yes, they did provide life vests. So the kids, I just had them both wearing a life vest. We did have a lot of fun, and it did wear the kids out. I will say this was one of the only disappointments, however, of our entire trip. It just wasn't very non-swimmer, baby, young toddler friendly. Stormalong Bay will be the most incredible pool experience for our kids when they are a few years older. At this stage, I really prefer a splash pad setting. It just feels a lot safer to me that they're not easily able to get into the deeper water. And so Riley and I had to just be so on alert the entire time we were at Stormalong Bay that it wasn't enjoyable really for us. We were enjoying our kids playing, but people had just raved and raved and raved. Oh my gosh, the pool, the pool, the pool. It truly is as incredible as people say it is, but I just don't think it's very baby, young toddler friendly. A splash pad to me is such a better situation without the deep water, with just water splashing around. So we stayed at the Grand Floridian, which has a splash pad, back in May of 2021. I was pregnant with Colin, and Nora was about 18 months old, which was the age about that Colin was on this trip that I'm talking about now. And that was the best. We took turns sitting on our lounge chair and the other one just watching Nora, and she was just climbing around, and it was so safe, and she just loved it. And I just think a splash pad is just, for our family at least, the superior option at this stage of life. So just putting that out there. I have no beef with Stormalong Bay. It was truly incredible. And I wish that I had gotten the chance to enjoy it more and like do the lazy river. But with our kids, the ages that they are, really them splashing and playing is better. But there's like rocks that they were trying to jump off of, and I was worried they're going to land face first. And if your kids are stronger swimmers, I think it's awesome. We have swim lessons coming up this summer, and things will improve year over year, but I'm just saying for babies and young toddlers, I personally prefer a splash pad option. But we still had a lot of fun. It really wore the kids out, and we were exhausted by that point too, especially because we probably were a little sleep deprived. So we headed back to the hotel that afternoon, and we all took a nap. All four of us took a nice long nap for about 2 hours. It was really nice. We woke up, we got freshened up, and we took the Skyliner over to Hollywood Studios. On the Skyliner ride over to Hollywood Studios, something very embarrassing happened to me. So we were doing the transfer at Caribbean Beach to get on the the Hollywood Studios Skyliner. And I had my phone sitting in the, I have like a stroller attachment that has a slot for your phone and a slot for your drink. And so this was, I thought, secure in the slot for your phone. But as Riley was maneuvering the stroller off of the Skyliner, the holder for this got bumped, and my phone flew out and flew underneath. We were in the transfer station. Flew underneath where all the Skyliners are, in that pit in the transfer station. And it was my phone. It wasn't like a water bottle or something. And I'm thinking, I really need my phone. So I told the operator, I said, I am so sorry, but as we were maneuvering our stroller off, my phone fell. It was so embarrassing. They had to call all these engineers, and the Skyliner can't stop. It can only go really slow. So they had to get all these special tools, and they were doing all these like motions and these special movements, and it was about 15 or 20 minutes, but they retrieved my phone for me, and I really appreciated it, and I was so grateful that they did it. And they didn't make me feel embarrassed. I just felt embarrassed because everyone's looking at us, and like they're trying to get my phone. And if it were pretty much anything else, I would have just let it go. And I said, does this happen a lot? And he said, it actually happens more often than you might think. He said, we don't usually have to retrieve the items though. He said, it's only every once in a while where it's someone's, medication that falls out of their bag, or their glasses, or their phone. He said, usually it's a sweatshirt or some kind of article of clothing, and we retrieve it after the Skyliner has closed for the night, and then the guest can pick it up in the morning. And I was like, I could totally do that if they said that that was necessary, but he realized that, for most of us, our phone is pretty necessary. So anyway, I was very grateful. They were so kind and so just like easygoing with me, even though I was like super embarrassed. They retrieved my phone. It lives another day. So I got my phone, and then we headed into Hollywood Studios. Now, during our family nap time, and there were no more hiccups on our way over there, thank goodness. During the nap time earlier when we were all taking naps, I was the first one to wake up, and so I went on to my phone to see if I could find a reservation for dinner somewhere in Hollywood Studios, and Primetime Cafe had availability, and I was thrilled. So I grabbed a Primetime Cafe reservation. So with the whole phone debacle, by the time we got to Hollywood Studios, we got to Primetime Cafe, it was time to go eat. So we pretty much went directly inside and we were seated. We had cousin Jordan as our waiter, and he was hilarious, and the food was delicious, and it was just great. I have been, but it's been years, literally decades since I've been, and Riley's never eaten there. So we really, really enjoyed our meal and had a great time, you know, bantering with our waiter, and our kids loved it, and it was really fun. I had also snagged that morning a Rise of the Resistance lightning lane for both me and Riley for the evening, and that's also why we decided to take a slow morning, because I was like, well, we're not going to stay there all day long, and I think our Rise was at like 7:30 or 7:40, and so p.m. So we did dinner, then we headed over to Rise. We took turns each riding it. It was both of our first times, and we loved it. What an incredible ride. It was so fun. I got on the ride. I wish I knew this family because they were the sweetest, but it was a mom and her husband and their son, and I didn't realize that they were all a party because I was so distracted by, you know, the surroundings as we were getting into the ride vehicle. And I didn't realize embarrassment number 2 of the night, I sat directly in the middle of them. So it was like the mom, me, the father, and the son, and I'm just in the middle partying. I was so embarrassed. And when I realized, I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I literally just joined your family. She was like, oh honey, it's great. She was so sweet. And they were the best people to ride this ride with. It was their first time too, and they were just so fun. And we were all just gasping and reacting and just having the best time. I loved it. I loved the ride. Riley was obsessed with it. He's such a huge Star Wars fan, so he was having such a good time. But it was a really fun ride experience, not only because the ride is incredible, but because the family I was with just took me under their wing for that 5-minute ride, and it was so fun. After we rode Rise of the Resistance individually, one of us watched the kids, the other one rode, and then vice versa. We enjoyed that evening at Hollywood Studios a lot. We walked around. We went over to the Disney Junior section, where during the day they have meet and greets with Fancy Nancy and Vampirina and Doc McStuffins, which we did that all at a later date, so I'll talk about that on another day. But that area is just this huge courtyard, and there's nothing going on there in the evening. And so Colin had fallen asleep, but Nora just ran around, enjoyed it so much. It was really fun. And then we decided to walk home that night. So we took the walking path home from Hollywood Studios to the beach club, which was about a 30-ish minute walk. And it was really pleasant. We walked through the boardwalk. We went into a shop. Just enjoyed watching the fireworks from afar, and we got back to the beach club around 10 o'clock p.m. And that was just a really nice pace for that particular day, because we got pretty much the whole morning and early afternoon to just rest, relax, the pool, Cape May Cafe, and then in the evening we went into Hollywood Studios and did dinner and a ride or two. I don't know if we did some other rides or not that evening, but we really had a great time. So that was our Tuesday. Heading into Wednesday. Wednesday is our Animal Kingdom day, and I am so looking forward to this day because our kids love animals, especially our son. He amazes me. At 1 year old, he can say, any animal's sound, if you ask him what a cow says or a chicken, but the list of, he can do the hiss of a snake, he can do a whale, he can do bears, tigers. He's just obsessed with animals, truly loves them so much. Our daughter loves them too, but Colin loves them beyond words. So I'm thinking they will just really enjoy the theming of Animal Kingdom and all of the different things that the park has to offer. Surely when we arrive, one of the first things we will do is probably Kilimanjaro safaris. So backing up a bit, as far as expectations with breakfast, I'm going to pack some easy breakfasts, snacks, not really full breakfast, but breakfast bars and yogurts and stuff for the kids to have, because they get up pretty early, and that way they can eat something while we are getting ourselves ready for the day, getting the stroller packed and all of that. And then I could definitely see us swinging by whatever quick services are nearby to the beach club, or heading into whatever park we're going in that day and finding some kind of coffee shop and getting just something easy for Riley and I. Both of us really need our coffee in the morning, but we can eat something light and then eat something a little heavier towards lunchtime. Anyway, heading into Animal Kingdom, I am just very much looking forward to it. I think both kids will love it. I would love to ride Expedition Everest. We would have to do like a rider swap moment or something because obviously our kids are too little to ride that ride, but I love that ride. Obviously would also love to do Flight of Passage. I'm not sure exactly how all the rides are gonna factor in. It will super depend on the kids. This is the interesting, like they're just such variables. You guys who have little ones know, you just don't know, and it's a vacation and it's meant to be fun. And so I'm not going to like force anybody to, wait in any lines or none of that. This is meant to be fun, and if I don't get to ride Expedition Everest, like I will make it. Definitely want to do Kilimanjaro safari with the kids, and I just am looking forward to Animal Kingdom a lot. I would like to eat at Satu'li Canteen. We have never eaten there. We walked through it because I have always wanted to see it, but I think that would be a really fun place to eat lunch. So maybe we'll go there for lunch. And then I think after lunch, we will most likely once again head back to the resort, rest time, pool time, outside time. And because at that point we will most likely have spent the past 2 nights at Epcot, I wouldn't be surprised if on that night we went back to Magic Kingdom, because Main Street at night is like my love language. So that's sort of my rounded out expectations for the Wednesday of our trip. All right, so Wednesday, this was a great day. Every day of this trip was a great day. So we woke up around 7:30 a.m. and we had a bit of a rough start getting over to Animal Kingdom. It just was one of those mornings where everything was kind of falling apart and the kids were starting to fall apart. And then we got to the bus stop, and as we were approaching the bus stop, we were watching the Animal Kingdom bus drive away, which meant that we had to wait the maximum amount of time for the next one to come, which took about 25 minutes. And so trying to keep the kids occupied and happy for that length of time. Then we got on the bus and it was totally packed out. And so trying to keep them safely sitting just was not great. And then by the time we got there, everyone needed to use the bathroom and everyone was hungry and grumpy, and it was just kind of a hot mess morning. But when we got to Animal Kingdom, before we even scanned our bands and went inside the park, Riley and I were like, okay, we need to do a family reset immediately. So all 4 of us used the restroom with the exception of Colin, who, we changed his diaper, and we stopped at the Joffrey's outside of the entrance, and Riley and I got coffee and we gave a donut to the kids and split it, got them some water, made sure everybody just needed a hot second to reconvene, and it worked really well. So we did that. And then we headed into the park. And by the time we actually entered Animal Kingdom, everyone was in a great mood. It was so much better. It was so much better than it had been, on the ride over. We shopped a little bit because we had a lightning lane for a Kilimanjaro safari. I think about probably 20 minutes after we arrived, it was like in the next 20 minutes was the beginning of our hour window. And so we shopped a little bit while the park was still empty. I vlogged some of that if you are watching my vlogs, and had a really good time. And then we went to the Kilimanjaro safari. The stroller parking there is kind of funny. They like valet park your stroller if you have a lightning lane, which is fantastic and really helpful. But then we couldn't find our stroller after because it had gotten moved. But that was no big deal. We obviously found it. So we got on the safari, and as I expected, both of our kids, and particularly our son, just loved it. It was so much fun. He just was pointing at everything and so excited, and it was early enough in the morning that the animals were all out and active, and it was just a really fun time. So after we did the safari, we walked around, enjoyed the sights of Animal Kingdom, saw some of the animals. The kids loved that. We purchased a bubble wand for the kids, which we should have done the second we entered Epcot on the first day, because it was such a win for the kids. They stayed occupied with that bubble wand for so long, and to this day, weeks after we've gotten back from the trip, we go outside with that bubble wand every single day. And the Disney bubble wands are superior. They are elite. They are truly magical, and our kids still love it. Riley and I did get the chance to ride Expedition Everest separately, which was really, really fun. Had a great time doing that. And then we did end up going to Pandora for lunch at Satu'li Canteen. And we have been sleeping on Satu'li Canteen. I cannot believe we've never eaten there. It's just never worked out before. But the food was outstanding. We loved it. We had a great time. The atmosphere was great. Really enjoyed our meal there. Riley loved his, I loved mine. And then afterwards we headed over to see the Finding Nemo musical, which our kids adored. Their eyes were just wide and focused the whole 30 minutes that the musical was going on. The music captivated them, the storytelling, the puppeteering, the bubbles at the end. I love that. I think it's great, and so did our kids. Then we took the bus to Epcot and we rode Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time because I had bought Lightning Lanes for us that morning. Amazing ride, incredible ride, outstanding ride, mind-blowing ride. Loved it so much. Riley loved it too. We both just were floored by the technology that went into it and the experience of it all. It was just a fantastic experience. Then the kids had fallen asleep in the stroller by this point, and so we walked around the World Showcase and got some little different things for a dinner for me and Riley. And we were back to our room around 9:30 or so that evening. We were quite tired after a good morning at Animal Kingdom and then an evening at Epcot. But Guardians was definitely my favorite ride on the whole trip. Incredible. Thursday is our full Epcot day, so because of the proximity to the resort, I think this will be a really super fun day. We can get up, pack up the stroller, and head into Epcot and find something to eat. Definitely want to ride the Frozen ride, probably first thing, because Nora loves Frozen. I personally, and so does Riley, we love the breakfast pastries and croissants and everything that they have to offer in France. So we will probably head over to the France Pavilion for some kind of breakfast. And I just love Epcot so much. And then, yeah, try to ride Guardians of the Galaxy. I think Turtle Talk with Crush would make Nora laugh. The Finding Nemo ride, once again, would be really good for her. I think she would really enjoy living with the land. Our son loves everything. He's one. He doesn't really have particular interests yet. He just loves to be looking at things. He loves to be pushed in the stroller. So that's why I'm not mentioning him. I think he'll enjoy any and all things. Nora is, at 3.5, beginning to have more specific interests. And I think she'll really like these things that I'm mentioning here. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think that that'll be a really fun day. And obviously Epcot has just, in my opinion, the best food, like all kinds of delicious options. So surely we will eat our way around the World Showcase. It's also the Epcot Festival of the Arts while we're there, and we have been 2 or 3 other times when the Epcot Festival of the Arts was going on, and it's really neat. There's vendors, and there's a big mural that everyone can paint a square of, and just all this stuff. So anyway, we're really looking forward to that. Again, probably head back to the hotel for rest and relaxation for a few hours, and then we will most likely head back into Epcot for the evening. And the kids probably by that day, it's like what day? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is the 5th day. I'm looking at my calendar. Yes. I can pretty much assure you they will fall asleep in the stroller, both of them at that point. And Riley and I can enjoy a couple of hours together, pushing them around in the evening. I'm very much looking forward to that. And definitely want to ride Ratatouille as well. I think the whole family can ride that one, so that'll be really fun. All right, so Thursday went completely differently than I had planned. We didn't go to Epcot at all. I don't believe on that day, no. And we ended up going to Hollywood Studios because we just felt like there were so many things that we hadn't yet done at Hollywood Studios. And because we had spent those 6 hours that I didn't think we would get to spend the day that we arrived on Sunday in Epcot, we had done a lot in Epcot already. So we went to Hollywood Studios on this day. We got up around 8:30, a little bit later this day. We were starting to feel it a little bit. And we took the Skyliner. I didn't drop my phone this time. We got there with no issues. We did at the transfer station at Caribbean Beach, where you transfer onto the Skyliner that takes you over to Hollywood Studios. When we got off, instead of getting right back on to the Hollywood Studios Skyliner, we did go down the ramp and go and grab coffee. There's a Joffrey's right there. And so both Riley and I grabbed a coffee in the morning because on this day we really needed it kind of like immediately upon waking up, which was great. And we then headed into Hollywood Studios. On this morning, we did go into the Disney Junior little section, and Nora got to meet Fancy Nancy and Doc McStuffins, and then we did the, what's it called, Play and Dance, Disney Junior Play and Dance, which is adorable. Highly recommended if you have kids, young kids. And they loved that, and they just played, and then there's bubbles, and there's dancing and music and all these characters. It's just a really fun thing to do for little kids. So we did that, and then after that, our son fell asleep, and so we were just pushing him in the stroller, and so Nora and my husband Riley went and rode Alien Swirling Saucers, and I stayed with the stroller while Colin napped. And then it was about lunchtime. The kids weren't quite hungry yet because they had been eating snacks all day, but we were getting hungry. So we went to Ronto Roasters in Galaxy's Edge, and we got Ronto wraps and pork rinds, and Riley got one of their ales, and I just got a lemonade. I don't know what I was expecting from the Ronto wraps, but it wasn't what I got. I was just very surprised by. It's not something, that's not my favorite kind of food item, but it was really good for what it was, and Riley loved it. Lots of meat. It had like turkey and then like a sausage and all kinds of meat, but it really was delicious. It's just, it probably wouldn't have been my pick. I just wasn't really paying attention. I just kept hearing people talking about how good it was, so I just went ahead and got it. I don't regret it, and I ate the entire thing, mind you. But Riley totally loved it. Loved the pork rinds. I don't even like pork rinds, and I thought those were delicious. So actually a huge win at Ronto Roasters for lunch. And by then, the kids were starting to get hungry by the time we had finished there, so we went over to Pizza Rizzo and got the kids a kids meal pizza and split it, and that comes with a couple of different little sides, and so they split those as well. And then after the kids had eaten their lunch, we were fading yet again, and so we went and got some more coffee for the afternoon. And then we went and did the Frozen Sing-Along celebration, which was adorable, so fun. The kids loved it, especially my son. He loved it even more than my daughter. He was clapping, and he loved the bubbles, or it's fake snow, I think. He loved like the foam fake snow. He just thought it was incredible. And then we got lightning lanes for Smuggler's Run, which was my first time riding Smuggler's Run. It was Riley's second. He did it back in May 2021, but I really enjoyed it. It's not as cool as Rise of the Resistance, but it's a solid ride nonetheless. Then we took the Skyliner back to Beach Club around 5 or so p.m. And as we were walking back from the Skyliner, I said, let's just go pop over to Beaches and Cream, which is a cute little, almost like a little diner, boardwalk style diner, little restaurant in the beach club. And we didn't have reservations, but I said, let's just go see if we can do a walk up. And so we went up, and I told him we were a party of 4, and he said, it might be about an hour. And it was only 5 o'clock. And so we thought, well, we normally eat around 6. Let's just, we'll kind of walk around. Well, within 5 minutes, they had a table ready for us. So we were really excited about that. So we went into Beaches and Cream, and it was one of my favorite meals on our whole trip. Pretty much every meal on this trip was my favorite meal. This was the best trip as far as food quality and deliciousness that we have ever had. Every meal we ate was amazing, including this one. I got a Reuben, and Riley got loaded chili cheese tots, and it was so good. And then we got the No Way Jose, which is a hot fudge and peanut butter sundae for all 4 of us to split for dessert. So I really loved Beaches and Cream, and if we ever were to stay on the boardwalk again, I would absolutely make plans to eat there because we loved it, and it's very casual. The kids loved it, great ambiance. And so on this night by 7:30, we were back to our hotel. So unlike my expectations of having to go back to the hotel every day midday in order to take naps, the kids stroller napped so well that we didn't need to do that. But this day, I was correct in assuming that they would be pretty exhausted by this point. So by 7:30 in the evening, we were back in our hotel, and we all went to bed really early on this day. Moving on to Friday. Friday is a full Magic Kingdom day again. I really have no expectations of this day. We will repeat whatever was a winner ride, attraction, whatever from previous days that we had been at Magic Kingdom. So whatever is a hit with the kids is what we will do in Magic Kingdom. I love, and so does Riley, to walk through the shops on Main Street, so we will surely do that and just soak it in. Let Nora ride whatever rides she loves to ride, and let Colin run around on the hub grass, and I don't have any high expectations. I just think enjoying time together as a family. For sure, Riley will want to ride Haunted Mansion at least 80,000 times on this trip because he loves it so much. So that'll be really fun. So that's what we're doing that day. Now, this is the one dining reservation that we have that the one that I'm so excited about. So in the evening at 5 p.m., we have a Space 220 reservation, which is the new restaurant in Epcot that's like you go into space. I'm so excited. I am so excited. So again, we will head back in the early afternoon, maybe later afternoon. I would say probably around 2 p.m. if I had to guess. Head back to the hotel, R&R, shower if we want to, change, whatever needs to happen, and then walk over to Epcot for our Space 220 reservation at 5 o'clock. I am very much looking forward to this. So is Riley. I just am really, really looking forward to it. So we will certainly share all kinds of vlogs and whatnot about how it went. But we'll do that and then hang out probably at Epcot for the evening since we're nice and close. And again, by that point in the trip, I'm thinking it's probably a very realistic expectation to think that the kids will fall asleep in the stroller and we can kind of walk around and enjoy ourselves that way. These days are getting further and further away from my expectations of them, but I think it's good to note that and see that because that's the reality of many different kinds of trips, certainly Disney trips with two little kids, is flexibility is truly the name of the game. So we ended up on this day not going to Magic Kingdom in the morning. Instead, we went to Disney Springs. It was wonderful to walk around Disney Springs. A storm blew through and it was pouring down torrential rain, which was the first and only time it rained or we had any kind of inclement weather on this trip. So we ended up camping out in the Christmas shop and the cast members there were absolutely wonderful. And Nora found a little corner of the shop where there were all these Mickey Mouse keychains and she took them all out and she was lining them up on the shelves and just playing with them, and the cast members were so sweet about it and they were like, oh, I'm so glad she found something to do since it's raining, and just really, it was really nice to not have to try to keep her, you know, situated in the stroller for the hour that we were waiting out that torrential downpour. But we enjoyed Disney Springs. We went to Earl of Sandwich for lunch, which is one of our faves. We got cupcakes from Sprinkles. We put our name on the mobile wait list for Gideon's Bakehouse, but it was just such a long line, such a long wait, even from it just didn't work out on this trip. So next trip, that is definitely something we want to try to do. After we spent the morning at Disney Springs, we went directly to Epcot. We rode Frozen Ever After, which our kids loved. We rode Guardians again because we wanted to, because it was so incredible. And then we went to Space 220 for dinner for this evening. And Space 220 was, dare I say, out of this world. It was so fabulous. The service was spectacular. The food was incredible. The immersion of the experience was mind-boggling. I literally felt like I was in space. You can't convince me otherwise. I highly recommend it. It's an expensive meal, but we loved it so, so much. And the drinks were great. The kids had a great time. They loved looking out into space and seeing the astronauts and the different whatevers flying by, like rocket ships or asteroids or something. It was really cool. After we finished up dinner at Space 220, we took the monorail from Epcot over to Magic Kingdom and walked in, and I had a lightning lane for us to go meet Mickey Mouse at the Town Hall Theater. And we hadn't met Mickey Mouse yet. We met everybody else. And this was like a core memory, maybe the highlight of our entire trip. I filmed it. It's in my vlog from Friday if you want to go watch it. It was so sweet. The kids loved meeting Mickey and they were just so enamored with him, and there was no one in line behind us, and so Mickey just took so much time to engage with our kids and play with them and take pictures with them, and it was really a fun experience. And then it was so perfect. As we walked out of meeting Mickey, the fireworks were just starting up, so we posted up on Main Street and watched what's called Enchantment, which is the current fireworks show. Loved it. Nora thought it was amazing. Colin fell asleep during it, which was so sweet. His little sweet baby eyes just got really droopy and he fell asleep. By this point, with the rain and the storm having blown in, it was very, very cold. The coldest by far that it was on the entire trip. So we were starting to get chilly, but we wanted to ride Small World because we hadn't ridden it yet and we knew Nora would love it. And we ended up riding it twice. And we could have gone on to do more rides, but it was just too cold and the kids were getting kind of grumpy and tired, and we were too because of the cold. So we ended up packing up and heading back to Beach Club. We didn't get back until 10 or 10:30, so it was a pretty late night, but it was a really special and fun day. Our last day is Saturday, so I have a park reservation at Epcot on that day just because I figure we can pack up the room, head into Epcot, and then we'll need to be back at the hotel by 3 p.m. But if there is another park that makes more sense that day, then we will try to get into that park instead. So if the kids really want to go back to Animal Kingdom or Magic Kingdom, I'm happy to do whatever. I made it for Epcot for convenience sake. the times that we've stayed at a hotel that's very close to a park, so like we've stayed at the Grand Floridian a couple of times, we end up spending the bulk of our time in Magic Kingdom because it's just one monorail stop or a quick walk away. And so because the same thing is true with Beach Club and Epcot, I'm thinking we'll probably spend the most of our time in Epcot on this trip. Not to say we won't visit the other parks, but I'm thinking that that just makes the most sense. There's a lot of space in Epcot, and I think not like space like NASA, but like physical space. And I think that our son will really like that. He loves to just run. And I think he'll really enjoy that aspect of Epcot. It doesn't feel as congested as some of the other parks. And Nora just loves everything. I mean, she's pretty easy, but I think she'll love, I don't know if she's tall enough to ride like Soarin'. I think she would really like it. But I know she'll love Living with the Land and Turtle Talk with Crush. Finding Nemo she will adore, so I'm really looking forward to that. So that will all happen, and then our flight is at 6 o'clock or 6:30 that evening on Saturday evening, so we will need to be back at the hotel probably by 3. So we'll pack up in the morning, check our luggage in with luggage services so that it's out of our room, since we'll need to check out by 11 a.m. And then by 3, we will be back at the hotel, probably pick up some last minute souvenirs or some snacks for our trip home. And then we will head out on the Mears Transport bus once again back to MCO, to the airport. And we will fly home to Texas, and we'll get home around probably 8:30 or so, about. And head back home, and the Disney blues will set in. But those are all of our expectations for the trip, and I hope you enjoy hearing the realities in between. Okay, let's wrap this up with talking about Saturday, which was our travel day back home to Texas. So we did get up and pack up our room. We got ready for the day, and then we called Bell Services to come pick up our luggage. And they stored it for us until it was time for us to board Mears Connect back to the airport in the afternoon. We did end up going to Epcot for convenience sake, and we got some coffee. We walked around. Nora did some of the Festival of the Arts things. So they had a whole area where they had all these stencils, and they had a big, huge chalkboard, and then just sidewalk chalk. And there were all these kids coloring and drawing on the chalkboard and on the sidewalks, and Nora partook in that and had a really great time. We also went over to the mural for Festival of the Arts, where each guest gets to paint a few little squares of the mural, and then the mural comes to life over time. So Riley, Nora, and I all did that. It was not washable paint, so Colin, he got to watch. But that was super fun. By the time it was noon or a little afternoon, and we were starting to think about heading back to Beach Club to have just another hour there or so before we had to board our Mears Connect transportation. That was the busiest I have ever seen Epcot. It was wild. It was wall-to-wall people. Even in the widest parts of the park where there's just lots and lots of room on the sidewalk, it was just wall-to-wall people. So I was actually really glad that we were making our way out of the park, because it was just simply too crowded to really be able to enjoy Epcot the way that we had been enjoying it all week. We had not experienced that kind of crowd. But it was a Saturday, and there's all kinds of competitions and stuff that go on in February, and this was the first Saturday in February, so I think something like that must have been going on. Anyway, we got back on the bus to the airport, and the Orlando airport is certainly not my favorite, far from it, but it was fine. We got through it. Everything was smooth and fine until we got back to Dallas Love Field, which is my favorite airport. Not DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, but the smaller airport, Dallas Love Field, is so good. It's such a good airport. It's so smooth. It's always clean. We love flying in and out of Dallas Love Field. But when we got there, one of our bags was missing, and sadly it was our bag that had all of our souvenirs in it. And so we went and talked to one of the agents, and he said, his name was Colin, which was funny because that's our son's name. He said, I never see more missing bags than when they're coming from Orlando, which did not surprise me. So we filled out the paperwork, and it was so funny because since it was a lost piece of luggage, we had to identify 4 items in the bag so that they could confirm that it was our bag. And Riley and I are sitting there trying to rack our brains and I'm like, a Goofy stuffed animal, a Minnie Mouse purse, So goofy. The same thing happened to the people next to us, and the lady was like, a Figment popcorn bucket. And the agent's like, a what? It was funny, but not funny, because at that point it was late and it took another 90 minutes of us filling out all this paperwork and all this nonsense for this missing suitcase. But things like that just happen. We did it, and the suitcase was delivered to our doorstep the next morning, so I really can't complain about it. But after we got that sorted out and we got into our car and we headed on home, and we got home, it was pretty late. We took a really nice long sleep that night. Everybody got hours and hours of sleep. And that was the end of our Disney trip for January 2023. This is probably my favorite trip I've ever been on. I just can't explain to you how special it was, how much fun we had making memories with our children. Our kids blew our expectations out of the water. I really had low expectations as far as how many rides and attractions we would be able to do, how many restaurants we would be able to eat in, how long we would be able to stay in the parks. They just were all in. Both of them were all in. And so we spent more time in the parks than probably ever on any other trip. If you want to go watch, they're all on my channel, all 6 of the daily vlogs, as well as a packing video. And then I have this one, and then I want to do a Disney Q&A, so make sure that you're following me on Instagram. My handle is BlairBlogs, because that's where I will ask for questions if anybody has any. I wanted to put this up first so people could hear an overview, and then if there are still any lingering questions, those I will answer. And then I will also film a video sometime soon here about taking toddlers and small children to Disney and kind of what we learned and what we did well and what we would do differently next time, and kind of all of the pieces of that puzzle as well. So thank you so much for watching our expectations versus reality for this trip. Like I said, we had some expectations, but the reality was so much better than we could have even ever expected, which was wonderful. I also want to invite you to take a minute to go check out the brand new Blair Lamb design. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know I have a small online shop. Well, it's completely new and different now as of the beginning of February, and I'm super proud of it. It's taken me about 2 years to get to this point, but I just absolutely love it. We have all kinds of different designs, including quite a few Disney-inspired, magical-inspired designs. So I really recommend that you go check it out if you are looking for some stuff to wear on an upcoming trip, or if you're just a Disney lover who likes to have a little sprinkle of magic around you every day. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon, and I hope you have a great week. Bye!